Welcome to the Bearded Finisher Podcast, your one-stop show for all things finishing and coatings. Your host, Zach, and a variety of industry experts will guide you through the art of perfecting your finishing and business game. From seasoned pros to fresh faces, get ready for tips, tricks, and trends to elevate your knowledge and business to the next level.
What is going on, everybody? Back today with a new episode. Today we have got Yuland and Marissa with Uplifted Finishes. I don't know why that is so hard for me to say. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Doing well.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm not joking. Earlier you saw the story that I posted on social media, and I probably recorded that 6 times because I kept messing up Uplifted Finishes. And I was just like, why am I getting stuck on that?
We make you nervous?
I guess so, man. My oaky brain just can't say uplifted. And I'm just like, bleh. So, thank you guys for coming on. Awesome stuff you guys are putting out on social media. Work is incredible. And the content you guys are doing is really amazing. I think it's a really big need in this world. Let's just jump into it. How'd you guys, first of all, where are we from? Where did we grow up at?
So first of all, thank you for having us. Really appreciate. We're honored to be on here.
Oh, I'm glad you guys came on.
Well, go ahead.
We grew up in Southern California, actually not too far away from each other. And then we moved out here to Phoenix, Arizona about 5 years ago. Yeah, about 4 or 5 years ago now. And now we're in Phoenix area.
Nice. So when you say you grew up not far from each other, did you guys know each other as kids? High school sweethearts or?
We did not. We actually met in the grocery store. One of those random love stories. So we did not know each other growing up or anything like that. We met each other in the grocery store, and the rest is history.
So was it later in life when you guys met? As adults or as teenagers or?
Yeah, as adults. I was maybe 21, 22 at the time, something like that. And we have a little bit of an age gap. He's 9 years older than me. And yeah, he asked me out. He asked for my number. And I said, all right. I saw him and I was like, okay. I was with my friend and I was like, look, I have to talk to him. And here we are.
Yeah.
Years and later, and
you knew what you wanted, and she did too. So it was a perfect match.
Yeah. It worked out.
So what about you, Yuland? Where? It's a unique name. Does it have any history behind that?
It does actually. It's a tradition. So apparently, the story is my great-grandfather made the name, and we've just kept the tradition with the firstborn son as Yuland. And so the name is broken into 2 parts, Yuland. It's supposed to mean euphoric land.
And what does it have a specific origin?
So yeah. He's from Louisiana. That's where my father's lineage comes from.
Okay. So kind of that
Creole, yeah. I'm half Creole. And so that's where it originates from.
Awesome. So you grew up in South California or Southern Cal too. So when did you do any time in New Orleans when you were a kiddo?
Oh man, no. I gave my dad a lot of grief about it because, I heard a lot of stories because he grew up in Louisiana. And so it's such a vibrant culture down there. And just hearing all the stories, I'm like, well, I want to go. And he's like, no, we're not going to go. And so unfortunately, I never got to go as a kid, but I always lived vicariously through my dad, hearing about Louisiana and the Creole lifestyle.
Yeah. So what about, have you guys been since you, I mean, as an adult, have you decided to meander down that way any at all?
That's like what we talk about. It's like
Not yet. I really want to go, and when the more you talk to him and stuff, he has that southern twang Creole in him, and I would love to see him in the environment itself. It would be a hoot for sure.
It's like it brings it out. I mean, my wife says that about me too. It's more the country. Like we moved down to Texas, and you know, I'm just into horses. My son rides horses, and it's the reason I want acreage. I want to buy some land and get some horses and some cows on it. I mean, you see me outside here, it's cowboy hat and boots all the time. She's like, I don't know what it is, but when you put that cowboy hat on, it's like you like get more country. And I'm like, that's okay.
you get more country.
I mean, Oklahoma, we're country as it is, but you know.
So suddenly your truck gets bigger.
Exactly. I mean, I can only hope and dream one day I get a big truck. I keep telling her all the time, my dream vehicle is like a Ram 3500 or an F350. And she's like, why? And I said, dually too. It has to be dually. She's like, what in the world for? And I was like, I don't know.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
When in Rome, I mean, we live in Texas. We got to have a diesel dually.
Exactly.
So let's talk about, I mean, high school, college. Did we go to college or did we start working straight after? What'd you guys do?
So yeah, I went to college, and I actually went to college to work in something entirely different than finishing. And
Okay.
so I actually started in film and music. So recording audio and mixing and mastering and just processing audio. And so I worked in the film industry actually for a very long time in Hollywood as a boom operator, sound mixer. And so I have a lot of experience doing that. And so that's where I started from. So I do consider myself an artist. I like to work with my hands and I like to create things. And I think that's what was missing in my life, aside from the lifestyle. As time was progressing in the film industry, I was learning that the lifestyle just kind of wasn't fitting into my lifestyle and what I enjoy. When you're working in film, it's you're a bit at the mercy of their schedule, and their schedule can be all over the place. I mean, you can be filming all night and you have to be a little bit of a vampire and then sleep during the day, and then you have to switch that off, and it's long hours. And
Yeah. I mean, I feel you because so I went to school for entertainment business is what my degree is in. But I grew up high school, tech theater, building sets, DJ'd for a production company, did lights and sound and stuff, production company.
all right.
And yeah, so I've been in that world. I was in that world all through high school and loved it. But same thing, liked working with my hands, but it just it started to not scratch the itch. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot more go do this, go do that than it was a little, have a little free reign. And I did one tour on a tour bus, and that was enough for me to ever not my cup of tea. I did one tour for, I mean, it was like 2 months. I don't see how people do that stuff for years on end. I'm like, you guys are freaking crazy.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It is for sure. And we had Jade on here a few weeks back, and he toured for like 4 years. I don't know if you guys listened to his episode, but I mean, he got married, went on his honeymoon. I mean, I think they went on a little trip. Not crazy, but came home and like he left for almost 2 years on tour.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
a long time.
crazy. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm good. So, what years did you decide it was time for you to go a different route than the Hollywood?
I think the hours and the schedule were just kind of wearing me down, and I was trying to see what else I could have fun with, and I started doing furniture. That's how we started. It's originally with furniture, And so I started doing it on the side in between my film gigs, just flipping furniture and seeing what I could do with my hands. And um, the type of person I am is I'll just jump into something and do it. Like I'll just try it. I'm
But
so
he does it with everything. He'll try something and he goes head first in the deep end.
yeah,
You buy
It's
all
not
the
just
tools and just jump right in, right?
yeah,
yes.
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that.
exactly, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. When he tries something, he's going to give it his all to see how good he can actually be at something. And that's how it led us to here.
So how long were you doing furniture and the Hollywood stuff? How long were you dual rolling it?
That's a good question. I want to say at least a year, maybe maybe two. And that was like leading up right up to 2 years before COVID. And then when COVID hit, that definitely gave me an opportunity to have a lot of free time. And I dove in even more into like the finishing and just exploring and just more furniture stuff. I didn't know what else to do.
I mean, because during COVID, painters were essential. I mean, I was in Oklahoma at the time, and you still got to work. They didn't make you stay home as painters. Construction was considered an essential service, so you got to keep working, which, we know Hollywood did not. So that probably freed up a lot of time.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Hollywood just completely stopped, and we just kind of dove in almost full time essentially for COVID. Uh, at that time, we were also remodeling we lived in a condo at the time, and so that also gave me some more practice. I think that was like the first kitchen I ever refinished and painted. Now that I'm
Yeah.
looking back at it,
Remodeling it during COVID. It was completely gutted. And he's like, all right, let's do this. And we did. It was quite the adventure to say the least.
yeah,
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, there was a lot of remodeling going on during COVID. I mean, it was just. I mean, I think most service guys, if you did any type of remodeling, I mean, it was like record years. You couldn't shake them off with a stick. It was just nonstop. I mean, craziness. Distributors were even better.
Everybody started realizing everything that was wrong with their homes
yeah,
all the time.
It's like we used to say that, everyone was sitting around their house going, can't go outside. Oh, that looks like crap. Oh, man, that looks horrible. Man, look at those cabinets.
yeah. Has that always been there?
Yeah, has it always been like that? That's exactly what it was like. So you guys were doing that, doing the remodeling, and then you kind of got into, I mean, for the furniture, went into the remodeling. So we're talking 2020, 2021 in that time frame?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so what made the move? I mean, one might assume it was COVID, but what made the move over to Phoenix from Southern Cal?
Well, we were actually planning before COVID. It was in the works before COVID. We were like, let's go to Phoenix, kind of get out of the busier city. And do something a little different. So that's what prompted the remodel and everything. And then COVID happened. It kind of the move kind of took a back seat, but it was still on our itinerary. And then we finally got out here in 21.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been great. Definitely no regrets of moving.
Yeah. Don't miss the traffic. Don't miss the traffic.
And Phoenix gets pretty trafficy, but it's probably nothing compared to Southern Cal.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot, but coming from like LA County especially, no.
Yeah, like rush hour here, you're still moving. And rush hour in California, it's like a parking lot, when you're on the freeway.
No exaggeration.
It gets, I mean, I don't know that it gets that bad here, but I grew up in a town called Tulsa, in a little suburb, but it's like not even 1 million people in the town and surrounding areas. So you can go from one side of town to the other. I mean, literally, nothing is more than, a 20-minute drive in rush hour traffic. That's it. Normally 10 to 15, 20-minute in rush hour. And then we moved to Dallas. And I was like, this is absolutely insane. And then people still tell me, I've talked to, you said you were up there by Dennis, and I've talked to Dennis. He's like, Dallas has a lot of traffic, but it's still got nothing on California. And I'm like, yeah, you just assured me never coming to California. I just can't even imagine.
Like we grew up there, so coming here, I didn't know any difference until we moved. Like traffic for me was this normal. It takes 45 minutes to get anywhere, right? Apparently not.
That is crazy. So you guys are liking it in Phoenix now, and when you moved over to Phoenix, did you do any sort of the video and film stuff there, or was it all on your own finishing?
It was all in the finishing. I kept it in my back pocket. Like I still have my equipment and my gear. And I kept that in my back pocket as a safety net that I could jump to, but I wanted to focus more on this direction and this new direction. And so when you don't have plan B, plan A is going to work, right?
There is no option. That's many of the business guys out there will tell you, but when there is no plan B, you got to make plan A work.
Exactly.
So let's kind of jump into a little more current. You guys are doing mostly remodels now. Do you guys do any new builds or new construction, or is it pretty much all repaint?
We do kind of a mix. We haven't done a full rebuild, but we've done
A full new build.
Yeah, a full new build, like a new house. But we've done remodeling where they're new custom cabinets. So it's not technically refinishing, but just finishing out the custom cabinets for a new remodel.
Okay. Do you guys do any type of architectural rolling out walls and case and trim in the houses, or are you pretty much strictly sticking to cabinets and are you still doing furniture, I guess?
Strictly just the cabinets. That's our focus. And we do, so cabinets is the main thing. And then we still do furniture, but it's a little bit more on the side in between the cabinet jobs.
Cabinets are the meat and potatoes, and the furniture is the sides.
Yeah.
That's where you get to really express the artistic side, is when you get into the furniture.
Yeah. I 1000% agree with that. And so we're kind of in that position now where we more pick and choose which furniture projects we like to work on. Because, some pieces are just a work of art. And I really enjoy working on furniture pieces. So they have like their trade-offs.
You get one of a kind when you're refinishing and some unique stuff, but that can also come with some incredibly pain in the ass challenges, I can imagine. I've done a few furniture pieces when you get into the veneer world and staining, or the glue comes undone because you strip a finish, and I'm just like, I hate furniture.
It's like you've been a fly on the wall for us the past couple of weeks.
I've been down that road one or two times. Man, speaking of furniture, this isn't off the wall. Have you read, oh man, it would have just flopped out if I didn't think about it. What's Revive and Refinish?
That sounds that's Morris, right?
Yeah, Aaron's book.
Yeah, Aaron's book. We haven't had a chance to go through it yet.
It's a really cool book. You guys do furniture, but there's some, there's little things in there. I owned a company for 10, 15 years, and there was some stuff that he mentioned in the book that I was like, son of a gun, I never thought about that. That would work good. Or weird stuff like, telling people, and it's a step-by-step, but really put together, well book. But there was one in there where I talked to him for like 30 minutes, and I was like, people got into this kick of stripping furniture with like easy off oven cleaner.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of that in my life, and he's telling me all about this and what the the ammonia and all the different stuff in that cleaner was doing to like the wood that people were using. And I'm like, well, duh. But he was like, dude, I can't tell you how many people, when you couldn't get the good stripper anymore, the methylene chloride stuff, everyone was reverting to whatever they could find. And I'm just like, that's just absolutely insane. But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool book of how he put it together. It's almost like a great coffee table book uh, that people look at and then they go, nope, I'm not redoing furniture. How much would you charge me to redo this furniture? But yeah, Aaron's a really cool guy. Did you guys meet? Have you guys ever met with him? Because he was in California too.
No, that's what's funny is during the time of us moving, I think that's when we kind of ran into him online. And so just the timing of it. But he did send us chapters before releasing and everything. So we did get to look through a little bit of it. It does look nicely laid out. I really like the layout and like it seems very digestible.
Very digestible and very his art designer on there. I give her huge props. Very artistic. It's like a nice coffee table book. It's not like a book that you would want to use as a manual and sitting in your shop. The way that he put it out and the pictures and stuff, I was like, man, that looks like a nice book you would have on your coffee table and people would take a look at it. It's really cool. So now we're into cabinet finishing. We're kind of into the current times. So I guess I'm looking at your social media here, your Instagram page and your video, the content. I'm guessing that is a lot of that scratching that itch from the Hollywood side because it's edited, perfectly.
Thank you.
I can't take credit for that. That's all Marissa. She does the editing. I will say it's with my direction. So I guess there's that.
It's just very well put together and very informative. Like you've got a good structure to it, and I think it resonates with people and the other thing that I tell people all the time when I'm looking at people's social media and they're asking me for help, what you guys have mastered, it's like, get in front of the camera. People want to know who they're buying from. People want to know who's showing up to their house.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't think I talk good. I don't look good. And I'm like, I don't care. You could be ugly as a pug because I think the dogs are hideous. People just want to know the person they see on social media is the person knocking on their front door. They feel like they already know you because they've watched 25 of your videos.
Exactly.
They don't care if you're missing teeth. They might, but they're not going to tell you.
Yeah, and that's exactly the reason why we do it. It is more work. It can be challenging at times to keep up with it. We do our best. We don't get everything. We don't document all the tiny little nitty-gritty things, but we do our best with when we can. But yeah, going back to just being in front of the camera, we think it's very important to show who we are and show how we're working, and so you can get a feel for who we are without even ever meeting us first. That way, it's not just random photos of kitchens and some guys, which is it's fine. Some guys like to just point the camera a ways, and maybe you'll see an arm in the frame and like pointing to stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're saying, oh, we're redoing this and doing that, and but you don't ever get to see the face, and so it's hard to connect with that person if you can't see them ever.
100%.
So, yeah, that's why we really, really focus on just turning the camera around, and so you can see us, and we can kind of connect through this digital media era that we're going through.
Yeah, it's what everyone wants. They want to connect with, and you guys do a great job because as I go through here is, you see pictures about and videos about kitchens that you're remodeling and you're on camera, but you also slide a little bit of the behind the scenes in there, and then you even slide a little bit of family in there. I mean, it's like, I was taught when you get in that social media world, it's like you got to turn the camera around. They want to know you. They want to get inside your family. They want to feel like they're friends. I mean, that's how you organically grow the social media. Like, put your kids swinging on the swing set, or, you're going to family dinner all in the car, but that's the type of stuff that really resonates with people right now. I mean, and it probably will change in a week or two. Who knows? But that algorithm's all over the place.
Yeah.
But man, I just wanted
to
give you guys props on that one. And you got a great following. I mean, that's amazing. 13,000 followers. That's incredible in the painting world. I mean, it's such a small community, and I talk to people and they're like, I've only got 1,000 followers, and I'm like, what would you do if you were in a room and there's 1,000 people just waiting to hear what you had to say? And they're like, crap myself. And I'm like, welcome to social media. You have 1,000 people that are interested. 1,000 people is a lot of people. It doesn't have to be huge, but it's people that want to know what you're doing, and that's who you're talking to. So yeah, it's a fun game.
Especially if you're doing social media as a way to get to like generate new leads for your business. It's not necessarily about the number of people, but the quality with that number of people. You could have 1 million followers and only get one job a month. It's more so about the quality of the followers, and I think that's something that we try to focus on, to build that relationship with our quality followers. And as you were saying before, like we really try to make sure that our faces are on camera, and we sprinkle in our family life and everything like that too, because it just adds to the quality of the relationship that we have with our followers. So I think that really, really helps.
100%. So are you guys, and this just popped into my head, it's a wonderful thing about this, are you guys doing most of the work yourself, or do you guys have some people that are doing the work for you? How's that shaping up for this year?
So it's just us two doing all the work. Just us two. Now
Mainly him. He's all the hands-on. He's the meticulous perfectionist, super detail-oriented, all of those things. Like how he was mentioning, I edit the videos with his guidance. I don't think they would be as good if it wasn't for his guidance, because he's very much, no, it can be better. It can be better. So it pushes me too, but he does all the hands-on work. I obviously have the baby, so I do the most that I can, but I do a lot of the online stuff that you see.
Yeah, online. And hey, there's a whole back end to owning a business that really sucks, and it's awesome to have a partner to help out with that. I mean, I remember when I used to had my own business. I mean, you work all day and then you go home, and if you're the one doing the work, you're up till 9 o'clock typing invoices, typing estimates, returning phone calls, making sure you get materials ordered for the next day. So I mean, that's a huge help to have someone like that, have that back end help. That's amazing.
Yes, yeah, I agree. It's definitely helpful to have her doing all the admin stuff for contracts, and so while I'm working with my hands, she can take care of, emails or getting back to people, text messages, all that stuff. And so eventually the goal though is to have some guys under me. So to have, but just a small crew. I'm not really interested in like a huge company or anything like that. I'm thinking like 3 to 5 guys. I'm just looking for guys that can produce really good, high quality finishes. Um, I guess I'm not interested in trying to provide, just something fast and quick. Like I want it to be good.
my father-in-law mentored me, and I tell a lot of people, like, when he mentored me into this painting world, I mean, he's been doing it for 30 something years. I mean, he built more than one painting company and tons of other companies as an entrepreneur. And, he had to, I mean, I was kind of tough headed. I mean, I'm a dude. We're not, what dudes aren't mainly really pretty stubborn, but there's only two ways. You can do more work or you can charge higher prices, but you're doing something with your hands. You're not selling widgets. So you can't make any more and have a backstock, have someone else make them. It doesn't work. Like, the only way to make more money, charge more per hour or do more work. And to do more work, you got to have more people. So he was always in the mindset of, get the most for the hours that you have, and we built our system around 2,000 hours a year per person. That's how many hours I got to sell on average. So for each guy, I've got 2,000 hours to sell. So I want to get the top dollar, the highest dollar I can for that 2,000 hours. Otherwise, you're not putting in that much profit in your pocket when someone else is doing the work. So it's not a matter, it's a fine balance. You got to make sure you don't price yourself out of the market, but you can see that pretty quickly. I always say, if you go charging $200 an hour, you're going to find out real quick that your schedule goes down really fast, or depending on what you're doing.
Right, and I agree with you. We tried the volume thing, like, just if you lower your price and you get a lot of work and you just pump out a lot of projects. It's just too much. It's just too stressful. I'd rather make something of quality and sell it for a higher price. I'd rather have less jobs per month and have a higher price so there's enough margin than trying to do a bunch of volume for a lower price. And that makes more sense to me.
Was listening to a book this weekend driving, Main Street Millionaire by Cody Sanchez. If you haven't read that book, it's a great book to read. She's talking about, buying main street businesses, service businesses, ordinary, boring businesses to grow and become wealthy. And she makes a comment in there that I was like, man, that's my father-in-law written all over, where she talks about, don't market to the masses. Don't solve everyone's problems. Solve rich people's problems, because they're willing to pay a lot for you to do that. And I'm just like, oh man, that hits home. That's pretty hard. Like, that's, as a small business, especially in the service world, solve rich people's problems because they got money to throw at them. Can't solve everybody's. So if you got to pick one.
See, that's a great point. You can't solve everybody's, so pick one. I love that. Yeah, that's perfect. That's essentially our mindset. And so we try to target the more higher income households. And so somewhere around $1 million and up who have outdated cabinets, that's kind of our bread and butter right there for refinishing projects. Yeah, they usually don't really bat an eye to the prices.
That's what you want. And that's where you go, I think it's time for a price increase.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We're always trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's always that game. I mean, what was interesting is I tell people all the time when it comes to pricing, and this is something I urge anybody's in a market to do, is make friends with the other high-end finishers. I mean, in my town where I grew up, where I had my company, there was like 4 or 5 of us. I mean, it probably happened every other month, but we try to go to lunch every month and we just talk. I mean, there's plenty of houses out there for all of us to paint. There's no way you're going to saturate a market in the painting world because there's so many things to paint depending on what you're specialized. But we'd go to lunch, try to go to lunch once a month, and I'm 6 weeks out right now, and oh yeah, I'm 4 weeks, and hey, did you bid on that one? Yeah, I bid this much a square foot. Oh yeah, I was 10 cents higher, and then the other guy's like, I'm only like 2 weeks out, and you're like, hey, well, if you go bid on this one, are you bidding on it? Yeah, next week. Well, you know, we bid this and he bid this, so bid this and you'll get it and get back up there. Or it'd be like, guys, I think I'm ready for a price increase. I think we need to up. And I'd be like, I'm going to go up to $75 a man hour. And they'd be like, okay, I'll go up. Okay, I'll go up. I mean, it's like the saying is, you know, there's collaboration at the top, competition at the bottom. So you want to create that collaboration atmosphere among your competitors, because all it does is make everyone better.
Right. Right. Exactly.
He's constantly talking about this topic.
Yeah, I love talking to other finishers, especially in our area, right? So every market's going to be a little different. Um, and so I love talking to like the local finishers and just getting a feel for the market, where they're at. You know, not everyone wants to talk about prices in their business, and that's fine. Um, I love to be, you know, I'll be transparent and tell people my prices, because I think it's a good thing for the community as a whole for us to just constantly be talking about prices all the time, because we're always I mean, inflation's always slightly going up, right? And so you always have to kind of adjust to that, as well as what's going on in the world. And so,
well, and then you look at it and you're like, you know, I need to go up hourly rate, whatever it is. Let's just say an average of $500 more per job. If someone's going to say no over $500, do you?
yeah, $500 over like 5-6 grand, like it's not.
Is that your
That's not a
demographic?
big difference. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it makes a huge difference. And one of the other one, I'm curious to get your input on this one that I have always did is, you know, I knew what it cost me to operate, and I had everything broken down to, it was all about hours. That's what we're selling. You know, you're selling a service that's based on hours. There's only so many hours in a day, so many hours in a week. An employee's only going to work X amount of hours. So that's what you're selling is hours. So every job, and I catch a lot of flack by this one. Got a lot of comments on the two sides of it. Like, I always did 2-man crews. I don't think anything over 2 guys is effective. Someone's hiding, someone's not working. You can see the production. I mean, it's, some guys are like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, man, I'm a 2 guys on a crew and that's it. Leader, helper, no one else. But every job I offer time and material. I don't care. You know, I mean, it was always my philosophy to the customer. My rate is $75 per man hour. I don't care if you want them to sweep the floor 3 times a day. Doesn't, if you want to pay time and material, all the material gets a 15% G&A fee, $75 a man hour. I don't care. Doesn't make me any difference what you have them do. Or I'll do it for the bid price, which is this. You know, one of the two of us is taking a risk. Either you, the client, is taking the risk, or I, as the business owner, is taking the risk. All my guys will get it done in that allotted amount of time or quicker. So it's a split 50-50, or I mean, hourly to me is the most fair. So it didn't bother me to do, because I had, you know, your direct cost and your indirect cost, all your expenses, all built into that hourly rate. Your profits built into that hourly rate.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. But I mean, a lot of guys out there should never charge hourly. You should never separate your material from your labor. 15 years plus, sold the business. I did everything what everyone says you're not supposed to do. Because again, transparency. Here's my rates. Here's the material.
So when you say hourly, does that mean you didn't give people just a flat rate? It was just however long it took. It was however long it took.
Well, like, so when I do estimates, I would put down the whole scope of the work in my estimate. And then I would say my rate, $75 an hour. Quantity, this is going to take 200 hours to do this job. 200. There's your labor rate. Now, I'm like, oh man, that's expensive. And I'm like, well, I mean, if you want to go time and material to try and save money, and we could get to a certain point, you could say stop or keep going at the end of every week. It's on you. You decide the length of the project and the scope of the project. Here's what needs to be done. Here's the rate. As you, the homeowner, if you want to pay $75 an hour, and every Friday I'm going to send you an invoice for the hours we worked and the material we bought for that week, and that's it. We come back Monday or we don't. You tell me. I've never had anyone. I never had anyone in 15 years, never had one person that said, don't come back. I ran out of money.
Wow.
I mean, the math probably goes to 40% of the time they extended it and added more work beyond the scope that I chose, that I put in there. Well, I mean, this is looking so good. You know, it based on what you guys done, it'll probably take you another 2 days to do those 2 bedrooms. Let's just go ahead and add those 2 bedrooms. Go ahead and add the kids' bedrooms. Okay. I mean, the rules that a lot of guys have out there, I didn't follow them because I'm about transparency, and it worked.
Yeah, that definitely sounds unorthodox. I like that. I like that.
I mean, it just puts the control back in the homeowner's hands. And I had contractors that I worked for. I had 2 contractors that I worked for in particular. They knew my rates. Didn't bid one job for them. After a couple of years, they got the same hourly rate, but they got priority on the list. So if they called me, I didn't do no deposits. You went on the list, and I called you a couple days before we started.
Wow.
And then, so I never took money up front.
You're wild.
But what I tell people is the psychology of that. If you don't take deposits, one, you are like 60% more likely to close it when you're on site. You know, you go on the list. I'm 6 weeks out right now. That person said, "Oh, I want you to do it. Put me on the list." The chances of them calling to get more estimates is like less than 8%. They're done. In their mind, it's done. It's going to get done it's going to get done in 4 to 6 weeks. So they're not calling anyone else. They didn't have to put any money out. And then you come start the job, and you might do a draw after you order materials or something like that, or after the first week, depending on how long. If it's a 3-day job, I'm just going to do it and then invoice them when I'm done. But if it's a week, 2-week job, then we get into a little more progressive billing. But so the customer doesn't realize it, but they stop looking for someone. So they're already booked. You get your contractors that know your rate, and they know the paint that you like to use and what it costs. I had 2 contractors that, I mean, they booked 40% of my jobs for me. They just call me. Hey, I got one. I never saw the job, but they were all time and material. And those contractors knew how fast the guys worked and knew what the rate was. And they would just bid it and then call me up and say, "Hey, I got one. I need you. When's your next crew free?" And I'll be like, 4 days. All right. I'll tell the customer we'll be there in 5. I mean, that way you can extend your reach on the sales side without having to pay someone to do it, because that contractor's getting work. He's going to put a little bit something. If you're 75, he may be charging 85 or 95. He's going to help you check on the crew every day. He knows how your guys work. I mean, I had one that would call us. He would call me, and it was probably one of my best customers. He'd be like, "Hey, Zach, I need a crew to go over to, Miss Mabry's house and just sweep all the floors, cover them, and move furniture to a storage unit." Okay.
Okay. I'll do that.
I mean, he knew what the rate was. The guys didn't care.
You know my rate.
He knew my rate. I just dropped him an invoice when the guys were done, and that was it. I mean, there was no qualms, no questioning invoices ever. I mean, it's just that mode of ultimate transparency that gives you into that inner circle on the contractor side and the customer side, because they just feel like they're not just looking at paint kitchen cabinets, $30,000 and going, "What the?"
You have that relationship built already. So it makes the process so much easier.
And detail the crap out of your estimates step by step. Cover the floors, degrease the cabinets with this, and then I'm going to scuff sand them with this, and then I'm going to prime them, and then I'm going to, my estimates would be 2 pages long because I would list every step out. I don't care if they shared it with someone. It's what every painter should be doing.
Yeah.
So, but it subconsciously justified that quantity on the hour rate. Because they don't see paint kitchen cabinets. They see this long, drawn out deal of everything you're going to do. First coat, sand, second coat. Pull the masking paper, sweep the floor, run a wet Swiffer over the hardwood floors, vacuum the carpet. And they're just like,
you were very detailed, talking about vacuuming
Sweeping
between
floors.
every. Yeah, I might have to put that in my back pocket there.
It definitely. I give that info away because it gives, what is the word I'm looking for? Almost validity or, justification to the prices that we're charging, because it's stuff that we don't think about. It's inherent. We do it. But as a homeowner or a contractor, compared to, Jim Bob's painting down the street, who has a sketchy looking van that could or could not have kids inside of it, it gives them some validity to go back and say, hey, Jim Bob, do you sand between coats with 400 grit? And you go, oh.
You would put down to the grit of what you would sand with in between.
Wow.
Wow.
Raw wood, I would say 150 to 220. And then in between primer, I would say like 280 to 320. And then finish coat, I would say 400 plus. And it's nothing big. I just sand all prime or raw wood cabinets with 150 to 220 grit paper. Tab, new line.
So you being that detailed essentially kind of omits any question the homeowner may have about, well, why does this cost so much?
Why does it cost so much? And if something happens at the end, you didn't paint the inside of this one box. I'm like, let's go back and let's look at the estimate. Oh no, it doesn't say we're painting the inside of that. Oh, okay. How much to add that? If you go that detailed, it omits questions about why didn't you do this? Well, I just thought you were going to do that. There is no, I thought. It's listed out. And at some point, like I use QuickBooks, so I had a template, and I would say cabinet remodel estimate, cabinet remodel template. And all that was just built in, and I could go change little words if I needed to, but all that stuff was just pre-tabbed in. And I just put whatever the hours were that I thought it was going to take, 200 hours, 250 hours. And then material, same thing. I listed the paint, never quantity, because you just can't estimate. Even the best of us can't estimate quantity perfect. But, and then I had a note, I had on my time and material note that went on every estimate. It says, if you prefer, job can be done as time and material. Rate is $75 per man hour. All material is charged after purchased. A 15% general administrative fee is added to material total. Receipts can be supplied if you want. No one ever asks for receipts.
Yeah, we definitely do the main bullet points of, we mask, we were going to degrease, that's all, like we list those things in our scope of work. But getting more detailed, like saying, hey, we're going to degrease with Simply Green or whatever type of degreaser, like being that specific, I think that'd be a nicer touch to have. Even like what you're saying, sanding to 400, like I like that.
Well, go ahead, Marissa.
I was just going to mention that I feel like that would kind of give the homeowner a sense of control without having any sort of control over it, just simply because, you're going to sand to 400 grit, even though they probably don't even know what that really means.
Yeah.
But it makes them feel good that they know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's giving them the power of knowing exactly what the process is, confirming why they're not doing it because they see that long list. And then, it eliminates questions, allows for a faster close, whether it's on Insight or whether it's, because I would do the estimate. I'd go out to my truck, had a little printer. I'd print it up and go back in and say, hey, here's your estimate. Because everything was pre-filled out. All I needed was hours and talk about material and go ahead and give it to them. Kind of go over it with them a little bit. Here's what the scope of work is. Any questions I can answer. That eliminates a lot of the questions. And follow up. Well, we don't charge anything to get on the schedule. I'm running 4 to 6 weeks out. Let's go ahead and get you on the schedule. The comebacks are very limited.
You know what would be nice is having that detailed scope of work and then being able to reference that later on down the line. Like, let's say there's like an issue that happens with the kitchen, you can refer back to that scope of work and see, like, was there something, maybe that degreaser like wasn't working for some reason, and you can kind of zero in on what the issue might be.
It gives you a little more control for troubleshooting down the end, but it also, when you get crews, you work on developing your SOPs. You're going to have SOPs. But every time I would do that, customer would have a copy, and then I could print a copy with no pricing. And it was the game plan. Tape it right on the door that's not being painted or on the fridge. Crew knew exactly what the homeowner knew. Everyone was on the same page. Everyone knew what was going on. Homeowner didn't question, what are you doing today? Because the guys would get in the habit of wherever it was taped, degrease, they'd cross it out. Next one, they'd cross it out. When they did it, they would cross it out. Homeowner knew what was going on the entire time of the project. And that was just happy flipping accident that they started doing that. When I started putting those on the doors and they'd like check mark it, and I was like, I like that. And they're like, oh, we don't want to forget. And homeowner just love it.
Yeah, they could see the progress as it was going.
It eliminates that slide of, here's what I give the homeowner and here's what I tell the painters. Guys, we got to be out of here in 3 days. No, it's like just transparency to the max. And people will pay for the transparency. I mean, I really, truly believe that when you get into that elite customer, they start paying for the transparency. And then you get to the point of, you get a call. Hey, Zach, it's Ellen. We're going to Cabo next week. There is a 2-page list on the counter, keys under the mat. Here's the alarm code. Can you get it done by the time we get back? Yes, ma'am.
And that's how we treat like our social media, our Instagram, to provide a little bit more of that transparency, rather than the list on the refrigerator. It's, sometimes the homeowner may not be there as we're working, so they get to see more of the behind the scenes through our social media. To see what exactly we're working on. A lot of people just love the spraying videos just because it looks fun to watch. So I think that also is a really big factor in our transparency. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. Just being able to show the actual work progress, I think is pretty rare to see from any other contractor. Exposing the process. It's like the behind the scenes. It's not done yet. It's not done. And so you just have to trust the process. But I think viewing the process makes it more trustworthy.
Yeah. I'd say the latter part of my career is when social media really started getting big, and I started doing, and I don't even know, I think it was, a guy up in Canada that has a cabinet, Jim Kerrigan, with Jeco Finishing. I don't know if you follow him. If you don't, go follow. Yeah, Jeco Finishing. He's a great guy. All of his stuff is shop finished, but he does shop walkthroughs. So I started doing shop walkthroughs every day on my live stories because I liked it. Then people see what's going on. So I was like, all right. So I started doing live shop or walkthroughs every day with every job site. I had 4 crews and then my shop guys. So I get to a job site. Hey, we're over at blah, blah, blah house. Let's go. Guys are working on this, guys are working on that. And I didn't think about it until you just said that, Marissa, but it is exactly that. It's like a subconscious behind the scenes look that people can see step by step what you're getting done. That's really genius.
Even if they don't really understand what's going on, I think it's just simply being able to see that you're working, and while you're working on it, builds that trust.
And the fact that you're not afraid to throw it out on social media because you're not doing anything, you're not throwing shellac or WD-40 on top of the cabinets when you're done. So it messes up every other painter in the world,
You don't like shellac?
I mean, I don't mind shellac. There's just so much better stuff out there. What are you guys using now? Are you guys water-based or still solvent?
We're water-based. 2K primers is pretty much what we use.
Are you guys using anybody in particular, or are you just kind of what you can get your hands on there in Phoenix, which is?
We're pretty exclusively Renner.
I was going to say Renner and Centurion. I think that's it there.
We have Renner, Centurion, and Envirolac available locally. I think Malaysia too. I'm not sure, but definitely those three for sure. And Renner is the closest to us. But I've been working with Renner for so long now that I kind of don't want to switch to a different brand. I know the coatings and how they work, and so I'm able to manipulate them a little bit better. And as time moves forward, I'm just fine tuning that manipulation, because I think that's what makes a good finisher, is knowing when to thin, when not to thin, how much to thin, and what tint are you working with? Is it dark color, light color, all that stuff. Like, I'm sure you're familiar with that.
The best thing you can do is find a product that you can get your hands on, you know how to manipulate. There's no other better solution. I mean, you don't need to jump products every 2 weeks or if something new comes out. I mean, everyone's just remaking everybody else's stuff. Let's just be honest. I mean,
yeah,
it's just the name of the game. But if you find a product that works for you, then stick with it. I mean, my rule of thumb was in the manufacturing world, and this was taught to me by one of our owners when I was at Centurion, was the rule of thumb in the manufacturing world is out of the can. You want to try to hit for 80% of the users are happy out of the can. You get into custom coatings, it's probably more like 60, honestly and truly. But in the architectural world, they're trying to get into that 80. But in the industrial world, I would say it's probably closer to 60. But then you have tools available for that other 40% that truly take the craft to the next level. They want it thicker. They want it thinner. They can manipulate the product. That, to me, is where that barrier of painter and finisher is. Painters want to use it out of the bucket. Finishers, they don't care. They're going to manipulate it to get it to what they want and how they can apply the best finish.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
It's part of the art of it.
Yeah. I used to be a thing like, oh, I don't want to thin. I don't want to thin. Like, I got over that. It's like, no, in some situations, like, I have to thin, especially here in Phoenix. It gets pretty hot over here. It gets a little hot. I don't know if you're aware. And so stuff will flash off really, really fast. And so summer's coming up. So it's that's the season when I start to thin things down to extend out the dry time, and so everything can flow out a little bit better.
I used to have a friend, not you, he's still a friend. We haven't talked in a while, but he used to go to Phoenix a lot to visit customers. And he just would swear by this statement. He'd be like, you want to end any war? All you got to do is send the homeless people from Phoenix, put them into the military, and they will end any war, because no one has got the gumption or the stamina that a homeless person with no shoes has in Phoenix, Arizona.
No shoes.
He's like, those guys, I think they could probably outlast Navy SEALs. He's like, those guys are freaking insane. Like, I don't even know how they survive.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's nighttime. It's still like 100 degrees, if not more.
I've been there twice for 2 shows that we've done when I was in the manufacturing world, and it was just, I mean, and visit a customer. And I mean, I agree. We were in some, oh man, was it South Phoenix, where it was sketchy at best. But I mean, there's homeless people walking around in June and July and August, and I'm like, I'd have been dead like 2 weeks ago. There's just no doubt about it. I don't even know how these guys are standing up. On top of that, they're wearing like 4 shirts and have backpacks and all this stuff on. I'm like, I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense.
It's a different breed.
Yeah,
For sure.
for sure.
Well, guys, man, real quick, we'll wrap it up. I don't want to keep you too much longer. Anything exciting going on that you guys want to share? Any exciting projects that you're ready for that are coming up you want to share?
Something exciting that we haven't posted yet is we just finished this antique Art Deco chest that was giving us issues. We had some contamination stuff going on.
Oh, okay.
And it was just a whole slew of things that we had to figure out to get it done. And there's like 4 different species of wood within one chest, trying to make it look all the same color. But we did it. And it's done, and the customer was thrilled. That we haven't posted the photos yet.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
I'm excited to show it off. It's one of our favorites for sure. It's really, really beautiful. I feel very proud of it.
Yeah. I think that's probably one of my favorite projects I've ever done. I'm just a big walnut guy. I love walnut. And I'm just really proud of that one. So we have that one to show off. There's a potential job that I'm kind of excited about. I just made samples for it yesterday. So if we do end up getting that one will be cool. They're doing it's a bathroom, and the whole bathroom is like a Gatsby vibe, like 1920s Gatsby vibe. And so it'll be kind of fun to work on that project if we get that one.
Oh, that'll be cool. That'll be cool. I'm with you on walnut though. Walnut is definitely one of my favorite kitchen that I ever did in my finishing career was double beaded flush inset cabinets. So it was all smooth. It had a bead on the outside, a bead on like a shaker, double bead, flush inset, beautiful cabinetry, all painted like a mute white. Every single drawer box and the interior of all the cabinets was solid walnut. And then we clear coated it all. Like, I mean, it wasn't like a walnut veneer. I don't even want to know what the cabinets cost. It went into a house in Oklahoma that was ridiculous to begin with. But I mean, you just like nice painted, good cabinets. Then you open it up, every drawer box, every shelf, everything was walnut. And it was just like, man, if I can ever get the money I need, that would be the kitchen. I'm not a fan of painted that much anymore, but God dang, that was gorgeous.
Well, and also going off of walnut, we mentioned earlier that we use all water-based. So something that we're really fine-tuning is getting the water base to look more solvent-like, to produce that solvent-like finish on like a walnut type of piece, to give it that depth and character without the toxicity behind it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys out there. Joe who's over at Renner now, Joe Pilon, I can never say his last name right. He came from Lacey, and Michael Smith, who also came from Lacey, are both at Renner North America now. I would hit up Joe to see if he's got a solution for that, because what I used to tell people, and some manufacturers used to make it, I don't know if they do anymore, it's just a little burnt umber, the right color and not dye, but you almost want microlith pigment, just a little bit of burnt umber, and you use something like a natural finish. So it kind of, most of those natural finishes are half film form and half impregnating. So they kind of penetrate into the wood, but then they build that film that's on top a little bit. And they kind of give it that amber, old school oil lacquer look.
Yeah.
It looks sharp.
Nice.
But I would say burnt umber in a microlith pigment, which can be hard to get. But if your Renner guy is tinting with Renner, then he's got microliths. I mean, I know he does. That's Renner's pigment system is a microlith pigment. But if you get your rep over there, just be like, hey, have Joe call me. Joe's awesome.
All right, we'll do.
If you haven't met Joe, he's got that artist mindset, but the technical knowledge mixed with that artistry, and it's pretty crazy, pretty awesome. I'm trying to think. He and I are talking right now. We're trying to get on the schedule. He's going to come on and do an episode, and we're going to probably geek out about a lot of technical stuff. So stay on the watch for that one. The geeked out episodes for the fun ones.
Right up his alley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, one final question. I've kind of adopted two final questions now. First one is, let the listeners, the community know what you guys are outside of Uplifted, and what's something about you that the community might find unique or interesting, a passion that's not around paint.
I'll go first. I love music. I love music. I can play guitar. I can write songs.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's
good at it too.
No wonder you're hooked on him.
Now you understand the vision.
Now I get it.
Yeah. So I really, really love music and just lyrics, and yeah, just that's my passion outside of finishing.
What about you, Marissa?
I like all things beauty and girly and all of that world. Like I'm an esthetician. So it's a lot of skincare, makeup, all that kind of stuff, which is kind of how I started to like the more finishing world, with the color matching and color theory and all of that. So I really love that. But I mean, I just like being a mom now.
It's pretty awesome being a parent. I mean,
yeah, it's something that I've always, as a little girl, you always dream about being a mom and having your family and all of that. And now I'm living that, and it's just really, really fulfilling. I can't imagine anything more fulfilling other than that part of my life. It's the biggest part of my life. It's the part that I'm most grateful for. So
that's awesome. And then my final one, I always mess this one up. If you could go back to your 19-year-old self with the knowledge that you have now, what's one piece of advice you'd give yourself? I mean, it could be something simple. I mean, just something that there's a lot of young kids out there that are listening to the show trying to figure out what they want to do, or they might catch their dad listening to it. Who knows?
I would tell myself to not be afraid to go against the grain of what everybody else is doing. As a 19-year-old girl, you tend to want to fit in and do everything that your friends are doing and all of that. And sometimes it might not be the best route for you. I think trusting your own instincts and your own intuition with what you want to do, regardless of what everybody else around you is doing, is paramount.
I think one thing that's been important for me is don't give up. So as long as you can persevere and just weather the storms and the bad times and the bad seasons, as long as you don't give up and you keep going, you will succeed. It's without a doubt, you will succeed.
I can't think of a time in my life where there's been something worse on the other side of going through some shit, for lack of a better term. There's always something better on the other side. So just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep going. Just as long as you can figure out how to keep going, just keep going. That's it.
And yeah, I like it. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Awesome conversation. A lot of insights. And again, congratulations to you guys on the little one, the family, the thriving business. You guys are doing awesome. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Everybody
Thank you for
out
having
there.
us.
Yeah. Everybody out there, make sure you like, follow, whatever you listen to your podcast on YouTube. Every Monday, we're coming out with a new episode, and we'll see everybody next week.
And that's a wrap on this episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. We thank everyone for joining. Keep hustling, keep learning, and never settle for anything less than your best. Remember, the path to perfection is a journey, not a destination. Until next time.